Hello and welcome. It's Adrian from Daddies, the resident Japanese player. I've got my next list for the round 2 of the Escalation League all ready to go. It's really just an evolution of the first list. We're adding 200 points here. So what I've done is select a second rifle platoon. I've got another officer, 2 more inexperienced light mortars, and a new squad of Japanese soldiers with just rifles again for my 200 extra points. This puts me at 10 dice. I'll flash a full list up on the screen, and you can take a peruse at it real quick. So for this round, we've got search and destroy. Now the victory conditions here are to destroy the enemy and the objectives. So we'll be getting victory points for both, with 1 victory point for each enemy unit destroyed, as well as 2 victory points for each objective destroyed. Now, the objectives are destroyed by assaulting them with an infantry or artillery unit. We'll need to have line of sight to the objectives to declare the charge, and we'll work it out just like assaulting an enemy unit. You'll fight around in close combat. You got to score 2 hits. Basically, this objective is a veteran, so you'll be hitting on 5+. If the objective is destroyed, we remove from the table. Okay. If the objective is not destroyed in 1 round of combat, we keep it on the table and we scatter. So the assaulting unit makes a consolidation move, and so does the objective, moving d6 inches in a random direction. Presumably we should scatter the objective first, because the unit is not allowed to be within 1 inch of that objective once it's at its final destination. We're playing long edges again with no infiltrators, no reserves, and no outflanking, with the medium engagement deployment type, which means we'll be running on from off the edge of the board. And the game length is specifically 6 turns this time. There'll be 3 objectives on the board. That's excellent. Actually, now to look at this, maybe having 10 dice isn't the best plan, but I'm looking to have fun, not necessarily win here. So I think that having more mortars will help me make up for the first round where things didn't go so well for the mortars. Now moving on to force composition requirements, I've got between 1 and 3 platoons. That's true, I've got 2 platoons. 600 points max, I'll be at 600 points on the dot. And we have 11 order dice max. I'm just getting up towards the edge of that at 10 dice. Now, for prohibited equipment and personnel, we have artillery platoons, engineer platoons, forward artillery, and air observers again, with company commanders, extra selection rules for the US medium machine guns and Soviet anti-tank rifles. Again, the large template weapons for high explosive of 3 and 4 inches are not allowed here. We have vehicle mounted flamethrowers, more than 3 vehicles, or an armor value of higher than 8+. This is all still the same as the first round that we played, so obviously I'll be meeting these criteria. And we'll be playing on a 4x4 board again, which, if I haven't mentioned, we should talk about. So my plan for this one is to move my forces up very aggressively early, and then fall backwards to hopefully limit the amount of pressure I'm taking and units that I'm losing. I do have it's sort of risky to bring all these mortars, considering that they're quite easy to remove, especially as inexperienced. But again, I feel like this is the right play. The Japanese are, I think, well known for their close artillery support and not so much their long artillery support, so I think this is a good character for the force. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This time I'll be playing someone who's been in the bolt-action community for quite a while, some Soviets, so I'll try to make sure I take some better pictures this time. I don't think my storytelling from the first round necessarily was as tight as it could be, and I'll try to improve on that. So here I was facing off against the American Army. I have my Japanese organized infantry on all 3 points of the left, middle, and center, as well as my mortars are in the ruins there. And my opponent had set up his machine guns ready to create crossfire on the objective. He had a sniper team, an officer, and a couple of units of soldiers, as well, rifles, on the left and right flanks. So here they are creating their crossfire with the machine guns, which meant that it was very hard to put early pressure on the objective. I was able to move up a little bit, take advantage of some cover that was nearby, move my officer into the building, and he took up positions ready to counter. I was able to fire down the road, and cost me a few rifles along the way. And then he also moved in. I began trying to pepper his unit across the road with my light mortars and hold his infantry away from the objective using my own infantry, who can sustain a few casualties as I do have 30 of them. Round 2, I was left sitting in the open, unfortunately. I tried to keep the pressure on the one unit who could move towards the objective and keep the rest away. He held his machine gun in reserve for the time being, knowing that it'd be useful at the end of the game. And he got a sniper up on the second floor of that building there. He was able to pick out the NCO on one of my infantry squads, which was kind of a pain. And you can see I'm prepared here to apply pressure to the cap. He also has pressure on the cap circle here. This unit needs to be removed for me to really threat the center in a meaningful way. You can see he's moved into the forest. My squad that's been out in the open for probably a bit too long is down to about 2 guys. It's not looking great. I was able to charge the unit in the center and win the combat. And now I'm looking at 2 machine guns in a crisscross there. So this squad that only has 3 guys left is probably not going to have very many left at all very soon. Did manage to take out one of his guys manning the machine gun with my mortars. And at the end, came down to the final dice roll, turn 6, needed a 4-up to finish, and we did succeed with a couple Japanese toes still on the objective. Although, to be honest, if the game had gone further, there's no way I could have pulled this one out. But it was a great game. My opponent and I learned a lot, and I'm looking forward to expanding the forces for the next round. And with that said, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers.